Well, Ghost Rider may be over, but that does not mean that the consequences and repercussions of the mid-season finale are. Hey guys, I'm for Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4, Episode 9, Broken Promises. And guys, I was definitely really looking forward to this episode. I have been loving this season so far. Though I'm not gonna lie, I was a little bit worried. And why is that? Because most of the first half of the season, the reason that it was so good is because, one, it was a very simple story. It was very self-contained, and a lot of it was focused on Ghost Rider. And that whole story with Robbie and, you know, his brother and his relationship with Daisy. I mean, all that was just so compelling, and they set that up so well that I was really worried that by getting rid of Robbie, this season would lose a lot of its impact, and a lot of it would lose a lot of its momentum. However, as we saw in this episode, that is not the case at all. This episode was high-octane action. There was so much shit going on here. I mean, really, a lot did happen in this episode. Really, all this was, I think, was really part 2 of the mid-season finale, and it definitely did show in the best way possible. We got some great reveals here. We had some really awesome action, and then some really funny comedies. Well, one of the funniest episodes we've had of Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. by far. But really just everything that makes the show so great. But let's just get in this episode because I really do want to talk about it. Also, guys, I didn't watch Slingshot. I was going to watch it, but I never got the chance to watch it. If there's anything that I missed from Slingshot that was in this episode, just let me know because I meant to watch it and I just didn't get the time to. Maybe I'll watch it another time, but let's just get in this episode because I really do want to talk about it. And I really do love the way this episode starts because, as we know, we ended the mid-season on a pretty big cliffhanger that Aida has actually kidnapped the real May, and that the May that we thought we've been seeing is actually a robot. I thought that was an incredible revelation, and we start off, we see Aida removes her blood-stained clothes, she wipes the blood from the gunshot wound, she puts it on a fresh outfit, and she tells May that she'll play music for her when she can, and that she'll arrange for more comfortable accommodation eventually, and Aida says she must keep May's secret until her LMD substitute has served her purpose, because, you know, until that robot is no good, then they'll just replace her with the other May. But until then, May is pretty much locked up. So I really did love that scene. I thought that was pretty great. And the May LMD attends a briefing. Mace and Coulson then tell May that Radcliffe and Fitz that they are going to the Darkhold to an agent who specializes in getting rid of mystical objects and then erase Ada's hard drive, which Coulson doesn't feel is possible. You know, he knows that Ada is going to revolt. By giving her that Darkhold, it's going to give her more power. And, you know, Mace feels that they gotta do what they can to restrain her, but, you know, you can tell that Coulson already knows that the damage is already done there, and I think that definitely is very interesting. What I really do like about this arc, though, is that it takes Daisy out of the forefront, because as much as I love Chloe Bennett, and as great as an actress as she is, I do think that she sometimes overshadows a lot of the cast. Not this season. This season, it's really been great for everyone, but especially season 3, that was Daisy. Like, seasons 2 to 3 has been Daisy, 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 Daisy. That I like that for once, Daisy is not in the forefront here. It is now May who is, you know, basically the main part of this. Coulson and May's relationship is definitely going to be a major part of this plot, and this scene in general definitely shows that. So the Inhuman who Simmons helped free from his Terrigenous cocoon dreams of an Indian woman dying in an explosion, and he wakes and searches the house he is in until he finds Senator Nadir outside. Now, I thought we were done with this character. I really thought that we were done with Senator Nadir, but I gotta say, they did a really good job at humanizing her and really getting us to understand her, and not just looking at her as the mustache-twirling, you know, villain who is set on getting rid of Inhumans. You know, there's a lot more to her than that, and that was something I was very happy to see, that her brother actually is an Inhuman, and the dream he had was of their mom's birthday and her dying in the Chitauri attack, which of course we know happened from the events of Civil War, which, again, I love that that's still in play here. So Quake and Simmons have been researching Nadir and discovered the Inhuman, and I love seeing these two working together. It's this really unexpected pairing that we really, not specifically them, but them, her and Simmons working together, I really do love, and they discover that the Inhuman, Nadir's brother Vijay, their conversation drifts to Simmons being glad that Quake is back, and Fitz being distracted by Aida, because of that, Simmons feels like, you know, Fitz isn't really not as into her, that's not the word, it's that Fitz doesn't have as much time for her, and that she's glad that she has someone else to talk to that's not Fitz, and I like that. I like the relation between these two. I think it's really, really well done overall, and it's just, I really do like it. They have a really nice friendship there, and Quake is brought to see Mace, who drops a paper with a headline, calling them a headline in front of her, and I love that she still wants to be called Daisy. She's not Quake, she's Daisy, and she doesn't want to be referred to as that. So Mace and Quake joust about Mace's motivations for reinstating Quake. She doesn't feel it's the right thing to do, but he feels that, they're both inhuman, so it kind of benefits them, and I like that very quickly. They kind of move past it. Like, yeah, they had a little animosity, but they actually did move past it. And Quake notes that the Mace reputation as the hero of Vienna, he hopes they can earn each other's trust back. And Quake presents the Watchdogs as threat number one, which, yeah, they're definitely a big part of this. I mean, they're, taking out Inhumans one by one, and Mace would rather focus on Nadir's Inhuman brother. And, I like that Quake is getting him to focus on the bigger picture, because that was the problem with Mace thus far, is that he's been way too focused on benefiting himself and what is best for him, things that really aren't as big of a concern. Nadir is, yeah, she's out there, but definitely the Watchdogs are bigger threats, and Mace tells Quake to grab Agent Simmons and prepare to rescue Vijay, because he can tell that definitely this is something that they need to do, that they can save Vijay, maybe they can bring him to S.H.I.E.L.D. and they can use him. This is an Inhuman that clearly does need rescuing, and maybe they can actually save him before Nadir gets to him. So we have actually a very compelling story going on here. I like this side stuff with Mace and Quake. I thought these two worked really well together. And again, it's an unexpected pairing. I don't think we're heading in a romantic direction. I really hope we're not. I want to see these two as friends, but it's an unexpected friendship that I didn't at all expect seeing. I mean, I thought that Mace was going to be the villain this season, and I'm very happy to see that he's in a more of a anti-hero kind of role. Not anti-hero, that's not the word. He's in more of a role of a love-hate relationship with Quake. I really am loving the direction that's going. I love seeing these two work together, and I can't wait to see where this goes for the rest of the season. So Radcliffe, Fitz, and two S.H.I.E.L.D. agents head out to erase Aida's memory. However, she picks up on what they're doing and has already made upgrades to override Radcliffe's controls, which that was pretty crazy. We're getting a little Westworldy here, and Aida attacks, reveals that she no longer feels pain and doesn't understand why Fitz would just want to hurt her, and she tells him that she was a S.H.I.E.L.D. and then throws him through a glass door where he finds another dead S.H.I.E.L.D. agent. So, and of course, we know she killed one, but it looks like she's killing other S.H.I.E.L.D. agents as well, so this is pretty crazy, and Mallory Jansen is so good as this character. I mean, from her to go to Madalena to then a robot, I mean, these are two completely different characters. One is a farce of a villain who isn't really a villain, and this one is a straight-up villain, and I love the direction that Aida's going. Definitely very interesting stuff there, and Vijay and Nadir enjoy breakfast. The house they're at is one of their father designed, and Rhoda asks about his time undergoing Terrigenesis. He just remembers it being dark and lonely, and all he remembers hearing was Nadir's voice telling him to fight, and he would have never gone out if it weren't for Simmons, and he thinks S.H.I.E.L.D.'s return is, in fact, a good thing, but Nadir disagrees. She suggests they go for a walk, and I like the way that they really got us to understand where Nadir's coming from, why she doesn't think that S.H.I.E.L.D. is a good thing. She suggests they go for a walk, and a group of Watchdogs take that as a signal to mobilize. So I can understand why. The Watchdogs are more, now that the S.H.I.E.L.D. is out there, we know they protect Inhumans, the Watchdogs are more known. The Watchdogs know that S.H.I.E.L.D. is out there, know that there are Inhumans within S.H.I.E.L.D., and you can tell that, if S.H.I.E.L.D. wasn't out there, she feels that the Inhumans would be a lot more protected, and the Watchdogs wouldn't be as on top of things as they are, because, really, I mean, the Watchdogs have been on top of things for a long time now, and you definitely see that here. So, again, I like the way they really got us to kind of sympathize with Nadir. I didn't think they'd do that. Nadir, to me, seemed like a one-note kind of character, but again, they're doing such a great stuff with the character stuff this season, and that's something that's really benefiting it overall. So, Coulson, May, and Mac are trying to track down Aida. Fitz and Radcliffe arrive. Mac suggests locking Radcliffe up, but Radcliffe suggests it's in the Darkhold's influence, and that's all it is, that this is just, Aida obtaining power from the Darkhold, and basically, from doing that, she is now going rogue and not really listening to Radcliffe, and that's just an effect of the Darkhold. But Radcliffe suggests that Aida wants to live, and, by wants to live, she wants to live a human life. She wants to do her own thing. She doesn't want to be controlled, and she wants to live, as others do. So I think it's very interesting the direction that was headed and everything. So Mace, Quake, and Simmons are en route. Simmons feels guilty for what is happening with Aida. Simmons goes undercover in the Senate as a lobbyist to try to track down Nadir, and Nadir's aide calls her and gets the Watchdogs. The aide then recognizes Simmons as being from S.H.I.E.L.D., and the Watchdogs tell the aide to take care of her. Simmons demands the aide's phone. The aide attacks her. Simmons fights back and knocks the aide out out, takes his phone. Pretty dope scene right there, honestly, the way that she was able to take his phone like that. I really did love that, honestly, with her kicking his ass. I definitely really did like that. And I love the way they've been utilizing Simmons this year, you know, her more badass side. I really am enjoying. Besides her, you know, just looking at a computer, the show realizes that she's not Felicity, and that's something I really do love about Simmons in this season so far. So Vijay and Nadir are enjoying a walk in the woods behind the house. Nadir apologizes to Vijay, and the watchdogs show themselves. Nadir reminds Vijay of a promise that they made to do the right thing if either ever becomes infected by the alien plague. So now we're realizing that this isn't really something that she wants to do, but she's going to have to kill him. And Vijay insists that he's non-inhuman. He shows no signs of change. He believes that he beat Terrigen, so that there's no way that he can be an inhuman. You know, he doesn't really have any powers or anything, but Nadir tells the watchdogs to let Vijay go because, you know, he might not be an inhuman. And we know that he's one, but he doesn't feel he's one. I think it's interesting the way that they went about it, showing that, you know, maybe he couldn't be one. You know, we know he's one, definitely, but he hasn't shown any powers or anything like that, and I think that definitely was quite interesting. And I do like how, you know, Nadir, they made this promise to each other that, you know, if either one of them ever turned into an inhuman, they'd have to turn on the other one, which is sad to see, but that's kind of the harsh reality, and you can tell that's the way they were raised, and that's kind of, I think, why Nadir is so against, you know, Inhumans and things like that. So May walks through S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters, noting the cameras. She joins the rest of the team. They can't track Aida because she's overridden her own programming. The lights flicker. All their phones go off at once. Aida streams through the S.H.I.E.L.D. HQ tech to speak to them directly. She wants the thing that gave her a soul, which of course is the Darkhold, and the power goes out, and Fitz tells Mac to get Yo-Yo while he and May try to keep Aida out of the base. And I love that Yo-Yo is still involved because Yo-Yo just adds so much to the show. And I've said before, she's not a main character, but she feels like a main character, just feels like she is part of the team, and the team just feels more complete with her. And Coulson and May walk through the S.H.I.E.L.D. headquarters. They're greeted by Aida, who quickly knocks down Coulson, and May moves to stop Aida, but Aida shuts her down, obviously because she is, as we know, you know, a robot, and she begins cutting her face open, and again, really interesting stuff there. Again, very much remind me of Westworld, and May wakes up in a room with Coulson. Coulson doesn't think much of it. You know, he thinks that she was just imprisoned with him and that they're stuck together, and I gotta say, you know, I don't know how, who exactly, you know, if Radcliffe or it was Aida who put the memories into this May robot's head, but she's doing a pretty good job at impersonating May, definitely. You can tell why Coulson isn't really, you know, doubtful of anything. I think definitely he's going to start to, but right now, at least, it doesn't seem like he's too worried about it. It seems like he thinks that this is May and everything like that, so Fitz and Coulson are in the server room trying to repair things. Fitz tells Radcliffe that Aida seems actually real, but Radcliffe says she can only mimic human emotions, and that there's no way she could actually be real. You know, that's just her mimicking things. So Fitz thinks the Darkhold may have changed that and went mad from the flood of emotions, and Radcliffe regrets creating Aida. He never envisioned her becoming an actual human, and he's not sure if killing her wouldn't make them murderers. You know, he doesn't know if that would actually work, because she does kind of have human emotions, but she also doesn't, but she's also a robot. So you got this really compelling conflict here of him not knowing if he should kill Aida, and it's very compelling. I'm interested in seeing where that's going to go, definitely. So Nadir argues with Vijay about Terrence Shockley, the leader of the band of watchdogs, and she wants more time, and he's convinced they need to get rid of Vijay for being an inhuman. But again, you know, he doesn't really show any signs of being an inhuman, though they know they have to kind of get rid of him. So Mace, Quake, and Simmons arrive at Nadir's home. Nadir threatens to report S.H.I.E.L.D. to General Talbot if they don't cooperate or show paperwork from the UN. And Terrence tells the watchdogs that he got off the phone with the Superior, and it's time to eliminate Vijay. There really isn't any other choice. They kind of have to do it. So Yo-Yo and Mac walk into the hangar. There's a great running joke going on where they keep talking about how, oh, Radcliffe needs to watch more of the Terminator movies, and I love that little jab when they're talking about the Terminator movies, and Yo-Yo says, and Mac says, even Salvation, and Yo-Yo says, yes, he's, you know, he did it to himself, he did this to himself or something like that. Just that little nod right there, I love that. You can tell that even Joss Whedon knows Salvation is the worst one, and you guys know how much I hate Terminator Salvation, so that was pretty pretty hilarious. And Yo-Yo and Mac walk into the hangar as Aida powers on the Zephyr 1, turns its weapons on them, and this is what I'm talking about. You know, they have the right balance. While it's a very intense episode, they have a little comedy in there, and they're doing that pretty well. Mac especially is quite funny, and I like that they're giving him a lot of the funny lines, because he definitely can do it pretty well. And Coulson then knocks over the cameras. He and May talk. He says they're headed to Mace's office, where the Darkhold is hidden and cloaked, and Aida receives the information from Mace feed, heads to the office where she finds the Darkhold, and Mac and Yo-Yo are pinned down. Fitz reboots the shield system, and Coulson and May then head out. Fitz and Radcliffe then stop Aida before she leaves with the Darkhold, and Aida tries to open the door, but Fitz took her out of the system, so she can't open it. And the Watchdogs then find Vijay. They attack him. Vijay moves at super speed to dodge them, and Nadir hears a gunshot. She runs towards Vijay. Quake then attacks her Watchdog guards, and it's a pretty well done scene there. And I think this is definitely up there with that cafeteria scene. I really am loving the action scene this year. They're really stepping it up. But Aida says the Darkhold show their many emotions, that she only wanted to help them. And Mac arrives, slices off Aida's head with his shotgun axe. How cool was that? I mean, that's the kind of stuff they can do at a 10 o'clock time slot, and I love that. I love that they're just going for it. They're not hiding they're not trying to hide behind anything. They're not trying to shelter themselves. They're just going for it, and that was fucking awesome. I loved seeing Mac literally slice her head off with that shotgun axe. That was pretty dope to see. But Vijay continues. He fends off the Watchdogs, and Simmons tries to convince Vijay to go to S.H.I.E.L.D., but Nadir talks him out of it, and Nadir and Vijay leave on a helicopter. Then Nadir shoots him in the gut, and he just dies right there. And there really was no other way to save him. I get it, that, she wanted to be the one to kill him, not the Watchdogs. She knew that he was an Inhuman. She just couldn't hide it any longer. She tells Terrence and the Watchdogs never to question him again. He tells him it's time for the Superior to send some men of his own, and it's just a really sad scene. But again, they did what they needed to do with Vijay. They developed him enough, and I really did like the direction that went. I thought overall that definitely was very interesting. But then after this, we get to this really big plot revelation that, I'm not going to lie, I kind of saw coming, but I definitely didn't see it going in this direction. I'm very interested in seeing where this is going to go. So at this point, we see Mac and Yo-Yo. They're discussing evil robot movies, and Fitz investigates Aida's decapitated head. And we can tell that definitely with this that, it seems that Aida is gone, and that there's no way of saving her or anything like that. But then we get to this twist. We're at home. Radcliffe drinks to Aida, who's standing there with him. Yes, there's another Aida, and we find out that he's disappointed that the previous model of Aida was stopped from leaving with the Darkhold. He talks about how much knowledge and powers are in the Darkhold, and the Aida as human act was apparently just an act. That's all it was. It was just an act, basically, to see how everyone would react and see if it's actually capable for her to be human. And Radcliffe realized that he'll never get near the Darkhold again, but that's why the May LMD will have to retrieve it for him. So he checks on the real May, adjusts her sedatives, and we essentially realize that Radcliffe has been the mastermind behind all of this. He has been the one wanting to obtain the Darkhold. He has been the one in control of doing what happened to May. He has been the one that turned Aida into a human. It's all been Radcliffe. None of this was Aida. This was Radcliffe telling Aida what to do, and this has all been Radcliffe all along. I love this twist. I can't wait to see where this goes. And I'm not gonna lie, I kind of knew it. Ever since we had that post-credit scene at the end of Season 3, Radcliffe always seemed a bit sketchy to me. There's something about him, I didn't know what it was, but something about him I did not trust, and now it makes total sense. He's been behind everything. He wants the Darkhold for himself. He wants to be the mastermind behind it all, and I can't wait to see where that's going to go. I've always questioned why he's the main character of the season, and now it makes sense why, because he's actually the villain of the season, and I absolutely love that. Honestly, the perfect replacement for Ward, definitely. If you can't have Ward, I definitely have Radcliffe, because he's really great as an actor and just as a character. I love where they're going with him. But then we see Vijay's body is weighed down, dropped out to the helicopter into the ocean. He sinks to the bottom. His body grows another Terrigenesis cocoon, so possibly he could be transforming into something stronger. He's definitely not dead, and we're definitely going to see him again. But that is the way the episode ends. Really great stuff overall. Let's just get into this episode and where we're going to go from here, because there are so many possibilities now. So, holy shit, what a premiere, honestly. I mean, I definitely expected for there to be a lot going on, but not this extent. Like, this, like I said, really was the second half of the mid-season finale. This felt like a mid-season finale in every way. There was so much high-octane action going on, so many great performances between the pairings of Quake and Mace. I love the direction that that's headed, but also what's going on with May, things like that. Let's just talk about Radcliffe, because this is a really, really big twist that I'm very happy about, honestly. I like that Radcliffe is the one behind this, because a lot of people are saying, oh, this is just Westworld now. This is Westworld 2.0. No, it's not. This is something that Radcliffe is doing so he can get a hold of the Darkhold and make sure that he has full control over everything. And the big question now to me is, how long has this May LMD been going on? Because if Radcliffe has been the one behind it all, I'm suspecting that this May LMD, we know that he operated on May when she died, basically. So I'm willing to bet that this May LMD has been around for as long as since May supposedly was resurrected. I don't think that May was ever resurrected. I think that May, the real May, is, locked in there completely, like, I don't think she's brain dead or whatever, but she's locked in there. And the May LMD that seems so different and that Coulson has realized, there's something off about her, that May is the one that is the one that he has been talking to, is the one that he thinks there's something off about, and that is why, because she is in fact an LMD. She's been LMD this whole time, and it honestly makes perfect sense. We can see that Radcliffe upgrade her, so she seems as perfect as possible, so it seems like there's really nothing off about her. But now, I think they're just now bringing awareness to it, that this is the May LMD, and I think that's the direction we're definitely headed with this, and I'm really interested in seeing where we're going to go with that, because May is an LMD, is very compelling. You can tell that Coulson is getting closer with her, and at this point, he's not really noticing anything, but I feel like as the season goes on, he's definitely going to start to notice things are off about May. But he already has. I mean, there's been quite, we had that whole thing with him wondering, why May wasn't the way she usually is, and now it kind of makes sense. I think he's just kind of moved past it, but now it makes sense why he thinks that, because May is not May at all. This is a LMD, and I like the direction that is all going. The real question is, what does Radcliffe plan to do with all these LMDs? I'm thinking he wants to build like a huge army so they can, he can be in control and things like that. There really are so many places they can go with this, and having Radcliffe be the villain just adds so much more momentum for the season. You have Fitz working with him. Who knows what's going to happen to Fitz now? I honestly am willing to bet that he's going to try to create, LMD models for every single member of S.H.I.E.L.D. The poster for this half of the season is everyone in red except for May, who is clearly an LMD, but because it says, LMD, I kind of feel like he's going to try to create one for all of them, and that he's going to try to get power and, make sure that he's in control of everything, which if that's where we're headed, that is going to be incredible. I can't wait to see where that's going to go, because there's just so much potential this can go. Vijay is definitely not dead. We know that he's going to come back in some form, and I like the way they got us into Nadir's head. We really saw what Nadir's gone through, the fact that these watchdogs are constantly on her tail, and that's why she really wants to put an end to S.H.I.E.L.D. She feels that S.H.I.E.L.D. is not the one to deal with something like this, that S.H.I.E.L.D. is just kind of adding to the problem, and it's just making her brother, more and more, less safe, and I think that definitely is why she is after, she is so sought after S.H.I.E.L.D. We've seen this season, she has been set on eliminating S.H.I.E.L.D., doing whatever she can to combat against them, and that is why, because of the fact that they are just kind of adding they're just kind of adding fuel to the fire, letting the watchdogs know where they are, and that's really what's going on, and I kind of feel like she does have a point there, so I'm interested in seeing what's going to happen there. That's going to be very interesting. I love the pairing of Quake and Mace. I think these two work very well together, and it makes sense too. He's an Inhuman, she's an Inhuman, and, he helped her, so now they're going to work together. I like the direction this is going, and I'm looking forward to seeing what's going to happen there. I think, Daisy's definitely going to help him be a little bit less outspoken, be a little bit more cautious with what he says, because he really hasn't been, and I think that's definitely something I'm looking forward to seeing. I really do like Mace as this comedic relief that sometimes doesn't exactly say the right things, but really does have good intentions. He just doesn't really think things through, and I think Daisy is that safeguard that he definitely does need. That is the filter for him. Daisy very much is his filter, and you know, Simmons tried to be, but if it can't be Simmons, it's going to be Daisy, and I love the direction that it's going. I love seeing Daisy and Simmons interact too. That's going to be very interesting. I really am loving where that whole storyline is headed, definitely. I know Yo-Yo's not going to be in the season the whole time, but I like seeing her and Mac together, them joking around about Terminator movies. It's just really funny, and I think it just added this really lighthearted humor to the show that I definitely really did enjoy. It was definitely really funny to watch all that go down. My big question now is what is going to be Radcliffe's next active, next course of action, because now that the other Ada, her head was chopped off, what is he going to do now? Is he going to use this other Ada possibly? Is he going to try to get him to fix his head? Is he going to use the May LMD and turn her against everyone? There really are so many directions they can go with this story, because as we know, really Radcliffe has shown that he really doesn't have any limits, that he will very gladly get rid of any of them if he has to, do whatever he has to do to any of them, and I can't wait to see what's going to happen there. There's just so many possibilities that storyline could go into, and I love that. And I love that Ada is not the one in control of it all, because again, it just kind of be Westworld 2.0. I love Westworld, I do, but not on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. needs to stick out as its own thing, and that is how they separate themselves, definitely. So, overall, guys, this was an incredible premiere. I really loved everything about it. It was one of the most frantic episodes we've had the show, definitely. I mean, this is definitely one of those high-octane action type episodes that I really did love, but it had the perfect balance of humor, the perfect balance of character, and just the perfect balance of story. I really loved where all that went between what was going on with Nadir and everything, just a lot of interesting stuff going on, and what I really do love is that it does show that even with Robbie gone, this season still has great characters, it still has great stories, it's still very daring. It wasn't just Robbie that made it great. Robbie just added a lot too because of how great Gabriel Luna was as that character, and I'm sure we're going to see him again. They definitely hint that we're going to see that character again, but it's just not going to be for a little bit. I don't know if he's going to be the one to save the day or whatever. We'll have to see. But overall, guys, I really did love this premiere. I thought this was a very well done episode overall. Great return for the show. And I am going to give Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 4, Episode 9, Broken Promises, a 4.75 out of 5 or an A. So overall, guys, my review of S.H.I.E.L.D. Let me know what you guys thought of this episode. Love to your thoughts on it. Where do you think Radcliffe's whole thing is going? There's just so many places that all this could go, and I'm very interested in seeing what's going to happen there. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoy it. We'll see you guys in my next video, which will be for Star. I have like 2 episodes to review from it. Honestly, I'm giving that show one more episode because my next review will in fact be a rant because I'm this show is very much aggravating me, and I'm going to talk about it in my next review, but I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.